necessarily with any gameplay, but this is more of a discussion. Couldn't really find another way to talk about this. But Star Wars: The Force Awakens. This isn't going to be a review of the movie or anything like that. It's basically a discussion on theories and my personal opinion on a few theories that I've made up myself with the help and information from other theories and things that I have read in the Star Wars community. I apologize for my breathing. I'm having problems right now, and my inhalers are not filled. So anyways, let's start talking about this. First off, Kylo Ren. His temper, is a really big apparent thing in the movie. We see it like numerous times throughout the film, and being a Sith, he's bound to be angry. And the majority of the times we see him throw tantrums in the movie, it isn't much anger as it is, I think, inner conflict. You can see him kind of hesitate on a lot of different things throughout the movie, and he battles between the light and dark heavily throughout the film. I think his decisions are influenced some more. Some of his decisions are influenced some more by the dark side, some others more by the light side, like when he told the stormtroopers to kill all of the villagers in the first couple scenes of the film. I think more so it wasn't him that was making that decision, it was him wanting to be like Darth Vader that made him make the decision. Darth Vader made a lot of similar decisions as far as being harsh and cruel went. I think he's at a constant battle between the dark and light sides of the Force, and light itself at the same time. He's also battling himself. Yeah, okay. He's also battling himself. He had a constant hatred for himself and who he is. I also think that he finds comfort where he comes from, which is Han and Leia, and all of that stuff, which is also the light side. And I apologize if I keep pausing or stopping or anything. I'm reading this from my notes, what I wrote it in on my phone. So, I think we see that inner conflict a lot come into play when Han confronts Kylo on the bridge. When Chewbacca is watching, and Rey and Finn are watching as well. I think Kylo had convinced himself a lot, or maybe it's possible that Snoke had also had some kind of hand in convincing Kylo that this was the best thing to do. Either way, he was convinced that killing his father would, who's Han, would make him stronger in terms of like the Force and stuff. And he thought it'd make him stronger, like kind of an erasing his past kind of thing. But if you keep like noticing things throughout the movie after he kills Han, it's actually made him weaker. Kylo still had a love for his father. And even after convincing himself for years that he hated him, he had a look of horror on his face after impaling Han. I actually think he was in shock until Chewbacca screamed and went on like a rampage and shooting Kylo, which influenced his fight with the dark side in a big way against Rey and Finn, and also damaging the First Order's weapon and everything. Now, during a fight with Finn, Kylo screams at him that he's a traitor. I think most of the people in the audience in the theater that I was watching at, kind of just looked at that as Kylo trying to intimidate Finn. I think if you take a deeper look at Kylo, you can feel the emotions that came forth with the way he screamed the word traitor at Finn. I think Kylo actually has a lot of personal feelings about Finn and his betrayal. Finn had broken free of the First Order and had gone over to the light side and decided to aid the Resistance. Kylo couldn't find it in him to do that and instead chose to continue fighting the light. I think he was kind of conflicted, confused, and angry on how Finn could do that. And that he also kind of looked at it as being impossible. It wasn't in his programming, it wasn't in Finn's programming, and it was betrayal. And I think The First Order was the Extreme Force. It was the only one Kylo had known. And it was a sense of entitlement. It had given him a home. And it was all these things for Finn. And Finn had still been able to go against it. In Kylo's eyes, Finn was a traitor. And Finn had sunken lower than anyone Kylo could imagine. We see the dark side of the Force influence him more heavily during his fight, though. You can notice Kylo punching his wound from Chewie, from when Chewie shot him with the bowcaster after killing Han, and he's causing nothing but more pain by punching this wound. I mean, he was shot with a bowcaster. That's not something someone walks away from. Chewie was shooting stormtroopers with it, and they were getting blasted back 10 feet. Kylo was shot with it and walked away. And during the fight with Rey and Finn, you can see him punching it, and he's inflicting more pain. And pain is strength for the Sith. He was using that pain to fight them. I don't think there was anything else left in him to fight Rey and Han other than inflicting more pain. I've also seen questions asked about why Kylo idolizes Darth Vader, even when Vader ended up back on the light side. Kylo idolizes what Vader stood for and the things Vader did, not Anakin. When Anakin threw tantrums, it was out of revenge and hatred for himself, after killing or almost killing Padme. And I think Kylo's tantrums are far more chaotic. We see this when he destroys the computers on his and Snoke's Star Destroyer, General Hux. He acts out of hatred for everything except himself, I think. He still hates himself and who he is, and he uses that hate to become stronger with the dark side of the Force. I think his tantrums are out of hate for everything else, and like Han and Leia and the light side of the Force, and even Luke Skywalker. Those are pretty much my opinion and theories on the feelings about Kylo and how he feels during the movie, and maybe even after or before. Another thing that is commonly talked about, I think, is Rey's parentage. A lot of people think she is the daughter of Luke Skywalker. I think that is highly possible, but in my personal opinion, I don't think it's true. I somehow think it would be confusing if they were to do that with Rey. I don't see why Luke would leave her on Jakku. There's also the theory that Rey is Han and Leia's daughter, which is why she's put up against Kylo. I find her being Han and Leia's daughter more believable than being Luke's daughter. I think it's kind of looked at. I look at it this way: Luke isn't the guy to just drop his daughter off on Jakku and leave her. But Han and Leia were going through a lot of stuff between themselves after Kylo had, fucked shit up at Luke's school, where he was teaching. I think, I have two sort of feelings about this. I think it's more believable that Rey could be a daughter of Han and Leia, and when Han and Leia were going through the emotional stuff after Kylo, because you can see Rey looks just a bit younger than Kylo. So Rey could have been like Kylo's younger sister, and Han and Leia had just decided that Kylo didn't go, or Rey didn't go to Luke's school. And Han and Leia have just decided that they didn't want to be parents anymore. They didn't want to be together anymore. They didn't want to do this after Kylo. I think they didn't want the possibility of another child turning out bad. Because Jason Solo, who's also the son of Han and Leia and the brother of Kylo, also went over to the dark side. They had 2 kids that went over to the dark side, and I just think they kind of gave up on 3. I think it's more believable than her being a daughter of Skywalker. I also think that maybe she's not the daughter of Han and Leia and instead someone else, but attended Luke's school when he was teaching Ben, now Kylo, and Jason. And I think Rey was a former student of Luke's and trained with Kylo and Jason, and also And that's why she is, after never coming into contact with the Force, before teaming up with Finn and fighting against Kylo, I think she's I think she was a student of Luke's in that school that he was doing with Kylo. I think, she witnessed Kylo's tantrum when he went on a rampage and, fought Luke and, kind of went against his teachings and killed all of the other students. I think Rey was a witness and a survivor of that, and that she also attended Luke's school. And that's why she's so somewhat skilled in the ways of the Force when she, confronts Kylo and the First Order. And, I also think there's a possibility that Kylo may be trying to destroy the Sith. I think that's why, he tells Vader, who is his grandpa, that he's going to finish what Vader has started. Vader ultimately destroyed the Sith by killing the Emperor, and, the Sith were kind of, a non-existent being up until Snoke and the Knights of Ren. I think that is what Kylo means when he tells Vader that he's going to finish what Vader has started. He is going to destroy the Sith by killing Snoke and destroying the First Order when the time is right. You can see throughout the film that Kylo has a lot of goings back and forth between the dark and the light sides of the Force, and I think there's a theory that he's a gray Jedi. I haven't read anything on that theory yet. I saw a few things about it, and I would just kind of scrolled by it. I'm not too sure about the possibilities of that, though. I think it is highly possible that he is trying to destroy the Sith, though, from the inside. I think that is why, I think Han knew that as well. I think that is why, Han knew Kylo had to kill him to prove to Snoke that, Kylo was dedicated to the dark side of the Force and the Sith, and Snoke himself. So Snoke would, kind of not see Kylo's plans to destroy the Sith and ultimately end up destroying Snoke and the First Order. I've also seen something that Han, says thank you to Kylo after Kylo kills him and Han falls off the bridge. Just as Han is falling off the bridge, someone said that Han said thank you. I didn't see that. I didn't catch that, probably because I was shoving my face with popcorn. But, apparently it happened. I've had a few people tell me that. I'm going to go see the film again soon in theaters, just so I can, see everything, how it happened, and, because I was in the bathroom for a few parts, and yeah, I missed the part where R2-D2 came back to life and showed them the map to Luke and stuff. I think it's possible. I think it's possible though that Kylo is trying to destroy the Sith, and in the ways that Vader did when he killed the Emperor and destroyed the Empire, with the aid of them blowing up the second Star Destroyer and that stuff. I think Kylo is going to betray Snoke in the next two films and ultimately end up destroying the First Order and either dying or becoming a Jedi. So those are just my personal opinions on a couple of these theories, and a couple of my own theories as well. If you have any of your own thoughts or opinions on these theories as well, I encourage you to comment your own opinions and your thoughts on these. I like to discuss. I love discussing this with people. I discuss it at school with my friends. It's a very interesting topic when I think it's really cool when fans kind of put themselves into the universe and kind of formulate their own things and what they think is going to happen with a series. I think it's really cool. So, yeah, please discuss this with me. So that's pretty much it, and until the next video. See you guys later.